4. So here we're basically going to talk about some broad principles in Piaget's cognitive development theory. We have two broad principles. Number one is decentering, and number two is egocentrism. Decentering basically is about understanding the world apart from oneself. But egocentrism is inability to distinguish oneself from the outside world. What is the difference? For example, imagine you have a picture in front of yourself, and you as an adult can understand that everybody in the room has a different perspective of that picture. Or at least everybody in the room is just looking at that picture from a different angle, right? Because like someone might be on the left of the picture and would miss some criteria on the right, depending on their vision capability or some stuff, some other stuff, or some other elements. However, this is not the case in very young children. Very young children, they are just ego-centered. Basically, they cannot understand that, for example, someone else in the room would have a different perspective, or they cannot understand that if there is a picture, for example, their sibling wouldn't see the same stuff as they would see. Or even we might get more technical. For example, there gonna be some coincidence in the room. For example, someone would break a glass. The way a child would actually think about that is just totally different from a sibling. However, that child would not understand other people in the room. They would have like some other theory of mind or some other perspective about the same coincidence. Make sure that you know these two elements, they are invariant, which means that they're going to be sequences for that. So we already talked about that being invariant is just a big part of Piaget's theory. So, okay. So how we would just conduct a research to understand Piaget's theory better? There are like different ways for that. One of the common ones are habituation and dishabituation. We already talked about that. We had that in our test 1. We had that in our test 2. I intentionally put a question about this one in your test 2 because I wanted to make sure that you are aware about the differences. You know that what habituation means and what is dishabituation. Because like they might be a bit confusing, so just make sure that you wouldn't actually get confused about these two different criteria. Another way of doing research on infant is violation of expectancy. Bailarjan's study, Bailarjan is a scientist. She's very famous in child development studies. But her study is just a great example of violation of expectancy. I would suggest you to just look at the study here in this link, because like I do have some questions for you. It might be in your test, so make sure you would understand the whole idea and let me know if you have any question about that specific study. I do have some other questions for you. I want you to actually sit somewhere and think about them, read the book, and just try to just answer these 3 questions.